a review of Shut Up and Dance, Season 3, Episode 3 of Black Mirror. We're right on track. That last episode got a little crazy with Inception levels of virtual reality. What is real? Is this wall real? Is my mom real? Why is everything warping around? No, this time we get an actual, straightforward, easy to follow, and gripping thriller. At a lean 52 minutes, there are absolutely no boring parts in this episode, and I think it's great. Also, the technology they use in this episode is not only plausible, it's already here, which makes this even more frightening. So our main character is Kenny, who's a teenager. He seems to be around 14, 15. He rides a bike. He doesn't have a car. Played by actor Alex Lawther, who's actually 20 years old, but he looks 15. He was recently in the movie The Last Duel. The budget is a bit lower, and we're back in Britain. It really feels like an episode from Season 1, and that's not an insult. It just is a lot more British and lower budget. Kenny is blackmailed into committing a series of increasingly terrifying tasks as he accidentally downloads a software that he thinks is going to help him remove viruses from his computer, but is really a virus in and of itself. And it records him jerking off and says if Alex doesn't do everything that they tell him to do, they're going to release this video of him whacking it to his entire contact list, his mom, his dad, his friends. They're all going to see him spanking it. Now, this is not the worst blackmail scenario I've ever seen in a movie. This is not a Taken type high stakes, my daughter was kidnapped, I have to go save her, or hey, if you don't do this, we're going to kill your best friend. This is just a dude whacking off. So I do think the premise is a little unrealistic, but maybe they're playing on kind of the fact that he's a teenager and he's really insecure and really scared, because at that age you don't know what the hell's going on. Personally, I would call their bluff and say, yeah, whatever, go ahead. I'll just text them and say, hey, some person's trying to blackmail me, don't watch this video. Now, this brings up another interesting thing about this episode, which is Kenny's age. He looks like a teenager, acts like a teenager, lives at home, but they never say his age. It actually took the producers of this episode, because of the controversial ending, to actually announce it themselves that he's actually 20 years old. They don't make this clear at all, but if you look at him, he just looks so young. So we'll get to the twist later, but just to put it in here, I'm referring to him as a teenager, but he's not exactly a teenager. And in my other reviews, I would show clips of the TV series, but Netflix is on to me. They hit me with the old copyright bug on an episode, Nosedive, which I hadn't even released yet. They're on to me, so fine, Netflix, you win, no more clips. But here's some beautiful still images. And as I mentioned, this technology is already here. In fact, we're going to do a TV Anthology Reviews story time. I ran into a scenario myself, somewhat similar to this, where I also got a virus. In college, while I was looking up pictures of bunny rabbits and lollipops on my laptop, and I'm not kidding, I hit this virus and the webcam and the light on the webcam shines in my face and a giant thing comes up saying the FBI is looking for you. Now, of course, the FBI is not looking for you, but it scared the absolute shit out of me. I literally fell out of my chair. I did not know that hackers could actually do this, or that viruses could actually turn on your webcam and record you. They absolutely can. So the crazy people that you see that cover their webcam with a piece of black tape are actual geniuses, because apparently this is an easy thing to do. I mean, this happened to me more than 10 years ago. I'm sure it's made only easier now. To my knowledge, nothing was recorded, but they were able to turn on my webcam and shine a light without my consent. And I had to run an antivirus software to remove it. That thing was on for like an hour. So were they actually recording? I have no idea. Could they record? Yes, they control my webcam. So you could say this one kind of hit home to me. And right now, I don't have a webcam. Maybe I'll get it at some point, but I am 100% doing the black tape thing. And you should too. Someone might be watching you right now. So Kenny's first task is to bicycle, since he can't drive a car. And this will play in later. So he bicycles to this location that the blackmailer tells him to go to, where he texts him and then sends him a GPS location that he follows. He picks up this cake. He's then told to take this cake to a hotel room. And here's where we're introduced to the second main character, and I think they work really well together. Hector, who's a guy in his, we'll say, late 40s, and also like Kenny is a bit nervous and seems to be untrusting to people around him. And Kenny realizes that Hector himself is also being blackmailed by this shadowy company that contacts them through text messages and tells them what to do next. So far, it's pretty mundane. Take this cake to this hotel room and now he's with Hector, and now they have to take this cake to another location right outside a bank together. Okay, alright, well, not great, kind of inconvenient, but so far alright. And Hector describes that what they are blackmailing him on is that he tried to pick up a prostitute. He went online, looked at some websites, ordered a prostitute, and they got all this information. They have pictures of him, if you know what I mean, his little Hector, and him contacting this fake prostitute that they set up for him. And they're saying that they're going to send all this information to his wife, which I think she would not like. And he says she would divorce him and take his kids away from him, which he probably would. I imagine in court, she's going to win that custody case. Hear he. I deserve custody because this guy picks up prostitutes. And so Hector is in a bit of a higher stakes situation at this point than Kenny is. And you see throughout this episode that Hector actually encourages Kenny to do some of the more bad stuff that they get involved into later. And this is a very good character who comes off as grizzled, a bit of a scumbag, but also constantly reminds us that he's a great guy. Kind of like someone out of like a Guy Ritchie movie where it's like, yeah, I do some bad things on the side, but really I'm kind of charismatic and cool. He's not the worst guy in the world, but he's definitely not the best either. So here's where the stakes really get raised. The next thing they want them to do is to do a bank robbery. They want, specifically, one of them to go in with a gun and rob this bank. Hector, being the older guy that can kind of bully Kenny, convinces him to do it. He'll be the getaway driver. Kenny's going to go and rob the bank. And while this seems implausible that Kenny would agree to this, an older guy encouraging you to do it, kind of forcing you to do it, putting the gun in your lap, saying that you have to do it or else your stuff's going to get leaked, my stuff's going to get leaked, our entire stuff's going to be ruined, and don't worry, I'll be there for you, buddy. I'll be there to pick you up after you rob this bank. It comes off as plausible enough. So after robbing the bank, they go to another location, and here's where they split off, and we get the quote-unquote twist ending. And Kenny takes this money into the forest. Yes, your next mission is to fight a pedo to the death. Interesting. Well, I would like to do that. I think I'm going to run. So this person or this company that is blackmailing people have on Hector that he tries to pick up prostitutes. Kenny, he's jerking off, and this older guy that he meets in the woods is a pedo. So they have different stuff over different people. And they keep running into people that this company is blackmailing. And then we get the twist ending. And I'm going to talk about this twist ending and say that I think it doesn't work. Now, the twist. And should I put a trigger warning here? Okay, fine. Trigger warning. We're going to discuss this. We're getting in the weeds. The twist is that Kenny himself was a pedophile the entire time. Dun 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 dun. And a big question mark when I first saw this episode came over my head. And I was like, Ink? Rank? What? I thought he was like 14. Is he not 14? Yeah. So there's two scenarios here. Either he's like 14 and he's looking at really, really, really young girls, like 5-year-olds or something, or he's 20, like the actor portraying him is, and then he's looking at, whatever, 10-year-olds, I don't know. But they never make that clear. They portray him as like a 14-year-old naive kid who rides a bicycle, can't drive a car, is very persuadable with from the adults around him, doesn't have his own place. Like, this guy seems he's completely a teenager in high school. He's a nervous wreck. So they really should have made this clear. Because I was like, what is he looking at, 15-year-olds? Isn't he 15? Also, they don't say the ages of the people he's looking at either, which I almost don't want to tell Charlie Brooker to go in deeper to that subject. See National Anthem for when he goes in too deep. If you're going to have a twist ending where he's a pedo, you have to actually describe what his age is. I have no idea what his age is. He's somewhere between 14 and 20, I think. But it really matters. If he's 14 and he has nude photos of a girl he's dating who's also 14, is he a pedo? Not really. But I think if I was to bang my head against the wall, I don't think he's 14. I think he's supposed to be like 20. He doesn't act like it. He doesn't look like it. He's persuaded so easily by the adults around him, which would make sense if you're 14, not if you're 20. If I'm 20, some guy tells me to rob a bank, I give him the middle finger. If I'm 14, I could be more persuaded into that. I'd still say no, but yeah, I think he's supposed to be around 20 years old and looking at really young girls online. But wow, this twist doesn't work at all. You portray the person as a teenager the entire time, and then you go, look, he's a pedophile. So I do think this is a bit of demerit from a very, very good episode. I'm still going to give this episode an 8 out of 10. I think it's worth watching. It is very tense. I don't mean to say the ending's necessarily bad, but just a little head scratchy, and it doesn't hit the emotional notes that, like I said, I think it's totally trying to rip off the Fight Club ending scene. Complete with the alternative music, man. Oh, it looks like he also gets charged with the bank robbery, too. This guy is Fucked. It's an edgier episode, it's a darker episode, but man, it really is a thrilling 52 minutes. And the way that they start off with mundane tasks to go to more hardcore tasks is exactly the way you would do it, and it comes off realistic enough. And as I discussed before, this technology exists, so you better cover your webcam. Everyone made fun of Mark Zuckerberg for covering his webcam. Mark Zuckerberg is 100% right. He knows what's on there. We're going to read some reviews in a second. And obviously, if you run into a blackmail situation like this, just don't go along with it. Yeah. Oh, and one more thing. The guy ends up releasing all the information anyways. So everyone gets screwed. So the blackmail doesn't even work. Which is always the problem with blackmail. Hey, I'm going to release these nude photos of you. Give me $100. Okay, here's $100. Thanks, I'm releasing nude photos anyway. You're like, oh, damn. So yeah, everyone gets screwed anyways. And they don't tell you who is doing this. I understand that's a choice with the writing, whether to reveal the person or not. I kind of wish they did, but I don't think it's really a right or wrong answer that this is a shadowy figure who remains shadowy. Maybe it's a little scarier that way, like he's still out there. So the story in the last episode was to call your mom. The story in this episode is to cover your webcam. Oh yeah, don't look at CP. This episode was written by Charlie Booker, the series creator, and William Bridges. William Bridges went on to write 2 more episodes of Black Mirror, the USS Callister, and in the newest season, USS Callister Infinity. And he also wrote Super Bob and an episode of Stranger Things. Let's look at some reviews. This person gave it an 8 out of 10 and said, uncomfortably powerful. Unlike most, the episode Shove and Dance is not futuristic, but is based on existing technologies and their current abuses. That's what I was saying. When I finally figured out what it was about, and my disappointment with the episode subsided, there was a final plot twist, that Kenny's a pedo, which showed me that I hadn't figured anything out, and that the real picture of this puzzle was much darker than I could have imagined. When the ending credits started, my wife and I sat for a while, silently glancing at each other, with WTF expressions on our faces. The episode left us completely speechless. In the end, nothing was that as it seemed, and a day later, I still didn't know what to think. Yeah, you're led to believe that this kid Kenny is innocent this entire time, so when you realize that he's the bad guy, Charlie Brooker's throwing a more morally gray scenario at you, where these people that are blackmailing them are doing something bad, but Kenny's also doing something bad as well. It's also interesting that he gets arrested at the end, which I don't know if that would stand up in a court of law exactly, if you're allowed to blackmail people like that, but he was looking at CP, so I guess if they just slipped it in there, and apparently they have a recording of him doing so. This person gave it a 10 out of 10. The only thing I can complain about is that it didn't show the fight scene. Yes, that actually is a good point. When Kenny goes out into the woods with this other guy, who's a pedo, and I'm saying that a lot this episode, they have a drone that goes into the sky, so the people that are blackmailing them are filming this entire thing. I don't know if they're going to release it or what, for their own pleasure. And supposedly they have a fight to the death, but they just kind of cut from it. And apparently Kenny wins. He comes out bloodied and battered, but we don't really see them fight at all. Considering how small and weak Kenny is, I'm not sure how he's beaten up this much bigger and older man, but it would have been nice to see the fight scene too. I agree. Maybe he took a tree branch and hit him over the head, or used some type of, where he just played possum and pretend like he couldn't fight, and then busted out some Khabib moves. Obviously it didn't have to, but I was disappointed to see the shot end and go to Hector. Me too. Not for long though, because then you realize that you're all getting exposed anyway, and their efforts were fruitless, all for nothing. All their stuff got released. These last 5 minutes of the episode are beautifully shot and incredibly heavy and meaningful. Especially when Kenny's mom calls him, you realize exactly what's happened. All the foreshadowing and context of his life in the beginning comes to play here. His life is ruined. His image is ruined. He's murdered a man, robbed a bank, and everyone knows that he's jerked off the pictures of little kids. They'll find out about the other stuff too, because he doesn't get the pleasure of killing himself. He gets cops kindly grasping his arm to take him away. I wonder if they would charge him for the murder. I don't think so, because the way that they present it is the guy attacks him first. He doesn't want to do it, and the guy's like, one up his sleeves, he's like, alright, little kid, I'm going to kick your ass. So I feel like you could claim self-defense at that point, but they don't really show it, so who knows. They should do a sequel where this goes to court, and he goes, guys, I was being blackmailed, come on, what am I supposed to do? P. Diddy situation, I bet he would be charged with some of it, but maybe he could get off from the murder. I say Kenny gets around 20 years in jail, that's my guess. Well, that was a fun, upbeat episode. And actually, next up is a more fun and upbeat episode. It's called Say and Juniper. And it's about 2 girls who are very close, if you know what I mean. Like hanging out in the 80s. Well, that's what it looks like at first, but of course it's Black Mirror, so there's a bunch of twists and turns and deals with virtual reality and stuff. Check out San Juniper. And of course you can watch all these on Netflix. After you check out San Juniper, check out our playlist for all episodes of the other series that we've covered: Tales from the Dark Side, Fear Itself, Monsters, Cowboy Bebop, Pet Shop of Horrors, and Mystery Science Theater 3000, of course Black Mirror. Thanks a lot.